Welcome to the Pilot Podcast,
where we review the pilot episodes of TV shows to answer your question, should I watch this?
My name is BJ.
And my name is Mitu.
And this week, we're watching Popstar Academy KATSEYE on Netflix, Divided by Design on HGTV, Batman Caped Crusader on Prime Video, and Are You Sure on Disney+.
So stay tuned to the end to find out which K-pop group BJ would want to join. And let's not have gender be a factor. Just which one would you want to be part of?
I don't want that lifestyle, but I'll be happily tell you about my favorite K-pop group.
Fine.
Before we get to that, how about you tell us about a girl group using the K-pop training system?
You're talking about Popstar Academy, KATSEYE, on Netflix. 20 aspiring pop stars undergo a K-pop training program exploring the creation of Hybe and Geffin's first global girl group, KATSEYE.
So me too, did you listen to KATSEYE's debut?
I did not. I did not realize until we were talking before the recording of this that this is a whole group. So if you want it spoiled, which girls make it, you actually can learn by checking them out.
Yes, we've known the final 6 going on a year now.
Wow.
So it's interesting to go back before, a little heads up. So this collaborative program to create a girl group recruited 20 people to train, and then they are secretly, or it's going to be a surprise to them that they'll go into a survival show. It's like a competition like American Idol where you'll get votes to see who makes it to the end to make the final group. And that survival show was last year.
Okay. And the thinking behind this group, which I thought was kind of wild phrasing, is to take the K out of K-pop and make it global. That was an actual sentence someone said.
Yes. Sometimes in the K-pop sphere, you'll hear global group, which really means not Korea or Japan.
Yes. I just thought take the K out of K-pop was almost threatening or menacing in its phrasing. Like, you could
Get
just
rid
say,
of that Korean aspect.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you could just say you want a global group. Like, I don't know that you want to say, rip the K out of K-pop right now. That's not the tone she used, but that's how I heard it. It kind of felt like a 90s television show casting where you remember like Barney and stuff, where there would be a child who was Black, a child who is Asian, a child who is Latina, a child who is this, a child who is that. It felt like they wanted something like that, but beyond race, of like ethnic or country background too. They wanted to represent different continents' talent.
Global.
Mm-hmm.
Global appeal. Although I feel like it still ended up, light spoilers, being very Western US focused.
Shocking. You've shocked me.
Oh, you didn't predict that?
And, like, the prerequisite for all the girls to speak just perfect English. They all spoke perfect English.
One of them, final members, does not speak perfect English.
Ooh, I like that.
She's Korean, so they probably made an exception.
Putting the K back into K-pop.
Well, we don't want to do that. Did any of these hopefuls stand out to you?
Naisha, a star, Brasileira, speaks 5 languages. She's a dancer. They had several videos of her dancing with Lay Twins, the Beyonce's dancers, I think most famously, that they're known for. So clearly she is a talent who is picking up steam in a fandom.
And I thought Daniela and Megan stood out, and that's all I'll say. Great dancers. They were one of the few who could do the heels, which was a whole separate class.
That was so interesting, learning about how hard it is to dance specifically on heels. I obviously recognize that it is harder to dance on heels because I can't even walk in heels. But having the choreographer explain the mechanics that, like, because you're being pitched forward a little bit, you have to dance in an entirely different way. So you have to adjust your body to that different positioning. That was genuinely so interesting for me.
I did like seeing a lot of the behind the scenes planning. We see a lot of the training and development managers, the creative directors and executives, and we see how this is truly a process, like full-on office workflow. We're going to evaluate them every month. We're going to send them to vocal, dance, star, publicity classes, all of this training to mold them into what they want.
This is real artist development, which is why for me sometimes the show dragged a little bit. I think it's specifically because real artist development is not necessarily sexy. It's not a reality show where women are fighting and sometimes jumping into the booth. It's not these artists who become famous because they have a hit on social media and then suddenly they're thrown on stage. This is people, to your point, who are being taught how to do all of these things really well. It makes me think of when people pull up performance videos of like the Supremes or other Motown artists where you can tell one of them was going to fall or drop something or an earring fell off, and you can barely see the issue because they are so tightly trained for how to accommodate for things like that. And that's what we're seeing here, which is why sometimes the show is a little boring. But if you're a nerd about artist development, I think this will be really interesting for you. And the other thing in the training that was compelling to me is that these are two huge companies involved with the making of this group. And so it's high stakes for the choreographers, the vocal coaches, everyone involved, because you want to be part of this group. You want to be part of Hybe and Geffen.
Yeah, and this is something new they're doing. This idea of a global girl group. And girl groups have always struggled compared to boy groups in the West. So I feel like it's a risk for both of them to take on this project. So you got to make it count.
So do you want to watch them make it count on more episodes of Popstar Academy KATSEYE on Netflix?
This is tough because I already know who's in the group. I've already listened to their music and I've already seen clips of the survival show. So going back before all of that and seeing hopefuls who may or may not and probably don't make it is not compelling.
You have fully spoiled this for yourself. A very unique position.
My bad, y'all. I did not prepare myself for this. If you know nothing about KATSEYE, this is a great way to get into it, and I would recommend it. If you're more in the K-pop world, maybe pass and just listen to the songs.
Support KATSEYE by streaming.
Yes. How do you feel?
I agree. Not the unique perspective. I obviously have not spoiled and learned who's in the group and watched the elimination show. But I would say if you're a nerd about things like artist development and if you're a nerd about K-pop, I think this would be interesting for you. For me, as someone who is not a nerd about those things, I don't think I'm going to keep watching, but I do recognize the show is really good. It's just not specifically for me.
That's fair. How about we go to a show that probably is a little more for you? That's all about interior design.
Absolutely. I'm a HGTV girl forever. You're talking about Divided by Design on the network. Married designers Ray and Eileen Jimenez bid against each other for clients in Miami for their dueling firms. They're trying to win over the clients with their unique approaches.
So what did you think about this spin on a design show where this couple, they're competing for clients, although at the end of the day, they don't seem that upset about it because they probably have a shared bank account. Everybody wins.
Yeah, it's all money going back to the same pot. HGTV has done this a couple of times where they have a married couple and they're competing in some way where they each are contractors or designers, or they've done it where like one of them is a real estate agent and one of them is a designer or something like that, where they like work together to build the thing. And then obviously most famously we have like Chip and Joanna Gaines, who now have their own whole network where I think he's like a contractor and she's a designer. I think I have their towels in my house from Target.
They're doing well. I
see. Very well in the genre. So I think this is a solid entry into that genre. I think it could have been a little bit higher stakes or a little bit spicier. I recognize that HGTV is easy watching. That's why I love it. But to your point, like, obviously it's all going back to the same bank account. So I didn't particularly care, for example, which one of them won the client that they fight over in this first episode.
Yeah. And what I was really surprised about was, light spoiler, in this pilot episode, one of them gets picked by the client. And then we see the other one already has another ongoing project that they're busy with.
Yeah.
So it didn't feel like anyone lost.
No, and then the one that didn't get picked by the client, understandably went and helped the other one finish the project.
Yeah, it was still a team effort.
Which makes sense, because if I am married to you, if I care about you, and then beyond that, financially, I'm very invested in this going well.
So there you go. They're displaying healthy relationship habits.
Which,
support each other, even if you have competing companies.
But that doesn't necessarily make good TV. I also wish we saw a little bit more design. We get to see more of one's vision. I don't want to spoil it because then it spoils who got the contract. But we don't see as much of the other's vision. And I would really like to understand better how they are different designers, because they stress that like one has a very different approach from the other.
Yeah, it didn't seem that different.
Yeah, to the point where they each made their own firms. They were like, I cannot have Mitu and BJ Designs because Mitu designs this way and BJ designs this way. I just was expecting to understand why they had to go about it on their own.
Now you're making me think conspiracy theories. It's all an illusion of choice. It's all the same design no matter what.
This is like your late stage capitalism.
Like they said, they want to take over this market in Miami. So this could be part of their strategy is we got A and B options. You don't even have to shop around. Just stick with Ray and Eileen.
That's fair. Well, will you stick with Ray and Eileen and watch more episodes of Divided by Design on HGTV?
I would put this as a would watch while cooking. This is a simple, easy show like you mentioned, HGTV, relaxing, have it on in the background. And you do see some really beautiful homes.
I agree. It's very pretty. Ultimately, it's nice homes in Florida, so you get to see lots of greenery and water, and they love an open house design down there. For HGTV Hive, you know this because we watch lots of different regions of homes come together. So this is also definitely a would watch while cooking for me, or even like would put on during like Sunday chores and just let it play all day. Let it play all day while I'm cleaning up.
Nice.
All right, why don't you take things from one house divided to a city divided?
You're talking about Gotham City?
Yes.
On Batman Caped Crusader on Prime Video. This series reimagines the Batman mythos with a focus on the detective noir aspects of the character. Set in the dark, foreboding Gotham City, this series follows a young Bruce Wayne, voiced by Hamish Linklater, in the early stages of his crime-fighting career. So, Mitu, what did you think of this pilot episode?
This felt like a lot of the superhero cartoons I watched growing up. I'm not saying I watched them closely or frequently, but this really felt like a 90s cartoon to me.
It definitely has the same look as the 90s Batman animated series. I think they were trying to capture that nostalgia, and I think they did a good job.
I agree. I liked it. I liked the vibe of it. I liked the focus on the different characters, the criminal underworld, the DA's office, and I liked Minnie Driver as our Penguin.
So that is a cool part. They are reimagining a few things. And in this version, Penguin is a tall woman. And I like that they are doing subtle changes, but it's still the characters we're familiar with.
The most shocking part was to see a tall penguin.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. But I will say this penguin is someone you don't want to mess with.
No, this show gets dark. There is a character where I'm like, I know they're not going to get killed. And then they get killed. And I'm like,
right?
Uh-oh, this show is comfortable just doing really
threat.
bad things.
Ooh. Yeah, it's a very dark show.
Very. Just Obsidian.
And I will say I'm surprised that we didn't get more Bruce Wayne Batman scenes. We get some really good ones, some great action scenes. We see how capable Batman is. We see how suave and debonair Bruce Wayne can be at fancy parties. But I expected more screen time from him as opposed to some side characters.
I agree. When he popped back up, maybe 3/4 of the way through the show, I fully forgot that he was part of the story. I was like,
This is his story.
Yeah. he attends an event as Bruce Wayne, and it took me a second. I was like, oh, that kind of looks like Bruce Wayne. And then I was like, oh my gosh, like, you are watching Batman.
I guess that also speaks to the fact that this show is still enjoyable, even though he doesn't get the vast majority of the screen time.
I was way more invested in Penguin's world, in Barbara Gordon and Harvey Dent. All of that got my attention way more than Batman did. But also, Batman wasn't competing for my attention. He was barely on screen.
So despite Batman not competing, will you keep watching more episodes of Batman Caped Crusader on Prime Video?
If you are not Cartoon Hive or Caped Crusader Hive, I don't know if this show is for you. I don't think so. But if you enjoy cartoons, especially that sort of 90s Saturday morning cartoon feel, I think you will enjoy this. I will keep watching this casually. And also, I live with someone, my partner, who loves a superhero comic, loves a cartoon. And so I think no matter what, it'll be playing in my home on Saturday mornings.
As it should. I, too, would watch again casually. I think if you're a Batman fan or a DC Comics fan, it's worth checking out. It is a little darker than you might expect. For an animated series, it's definitely not gory or graphic like an Invincible is, but it's still entertaining.
Oh my gosh, when you tricked me into watching Invincible, I will never forget that because it was so cute that first half, and then there was so much blood.
You had us watch Kite Man. That was also graphic.
Yeah, that was very graphic.
Anyway.
All right, why don't you take us from the dark underworld to a very bright tour of the U.S. and I think beyond.
Yes, you're talking about Are You Sure? On Disney Plus, where we're joining BTS members Jimin and Jungkook on an enchanting journey of self-discovery and friendship. We get to see these two friends in their 20s who happen to be global superstars, but are now taking some time to travel the US, South Korea, and Japan. So Mitu, what did you think of this friends adventure?
I'm just going to honesty circle my first thought, just in the cone of honesty for everyone. My first note in my notes is, my goodness, their skin is perfect. They were glowing. They glowed.
You know, they have access to Korean skincare, Korean dermatologists. I'm sure they have staff who's there to make sure their skin stays nice.
Oh, yeah. I bet there's like a zit person assigned to each member of BTS. Like there is a different facialist, and one of the facialists just tackles incoming pimples.
So I do hope that you get that for you one day. You deserve it.
I want to glow like them.
It takes work, though.
That is a celebrity skincare line I would buy into immediately.
Oh, I wonder if they have one or if they've endorsed any skincare brands.
Let me know, Army. Help me tap in.
Well, despite their skin and endorsements, I liked seeing their personalities. Their friendship seemed so fun and easy and lighthearted. I really liked how at this time of filming, Jungkook had just released his single 7 with, I think, Lotto. Mm-hmm. And Jimin was so excited for him. He was singing the song, looking at videos of the performance. And you see how much they're not just bandmates, but they are cheerleaders for each other.
We were talking about this a little bit before we recorded, that BTS's experience as a group of people who became just one of the biggest bands of all time must be so unique. Literally, they're one of like maybe just a handful of people who know what this feels like at all. Mm-hmm. And so it's very sweet that they appear to have each other. I mean, I understand it is a produced show, but it really felt like they had a sibling relationship. We see them one of them gets sick. Jungkook's throat starts hurting. He gets a little sick. And Jimin just jumped right in. And then when they asked him, are you scared of getting sick? He was like, no, it's more important to take care of Jungkook's voice because he has performances coming up. I just thought that was really sweet.
It was very sweet. I will say, in terms of criticism, and I'm curious about your opinion, this road trip wasn't as, lavish as I would expect for such superstars.
Are you saying where is the budget? You've really surprised me.
They had some good-looking burgers. They went to a blurred out Dick's Sporting Goods.
Yes.
They rode some, kayaks?
Yeah, they had a very budget friendly. It was like a day that you and I 100% could do, and frankly, we could do a nicer version of it.
Oh, we can outclass them?
Yeah, we could book like a nicer Airbnb to end the night. That's true. I think they were kind of going for, excuse me, I don't know that they were actually going for this, but what it made me think of was the Oprah Gayle road trip. There are a handful of episodes of the Oprah Winfrey Show where she and Gayle, it's like a 4-part series or something, they drive across America. And those are some of the best episodes of television ever, because so much of it is the two of them in a car and Gayle singing a lot, just being such a personality, we'll say. And you just see Oprah just increasingly tired. And there's a specific vein in her temple that just pops out every so often because she is so exhausted by Gayle. They did not seem to be tired of each other, nor would I think the show allow for us to see them get super tired of each other or cranky with each other. But I think it was kind of like that, where it's like the joy is seeing them together. The joy is not in the activities. Because I agree. I think it could have been stepped up a little bit what they did or where they went. It kind of felt like when you took me to that K-pop concert once, they had these interludes between the showcase sets where we saw the girl band members like do different things in mix. We saw them like do little pranks on each other and answer questions. And it was clearly a way for us to get to know the members of the band in a really controlled way. And it also established some of their personalities. This is this one. This is this one. And it kind of felt like a longer, like full show version of those interludes that we saw at the showcase.
That's a good point. This show does a great job of introducing us to them and their personalities and their relationship. And the adventure itself is not the main focus. And I will give a positive spin to it. Kind of what you said. It feels very relatable.
Yeah.
I was thinking, me too, and I should go on a little road trip, grab some sandwiches, hit up a shop, and ride in some kayaks.
Where?
I'm not going to reveal like exactly where. What if someone start stalking us?
Okay, but I just want to go somewhere nice. I don't want to do it exactly like this.
I mean, it would be in this state area.
Okay. I'm just more thinking about the cabin that they stayed in after. I was like, how many bathrooms does that place have?
Half.
Yeah, I'm not interested.
You're not going to go outside and barbecue for us?
No, but I'll kayak with you as long as the water is okay to kayak in.
I can't control that.
I don't want to be like those Olympians.
Well, don't flip over.
Don't flip me over.
I didn't say I would.
Now this is getting testy. Okay, this is why they can't show everything Jimin and Jungkook would do on a road trip together. But I agree. I think it was very charming to see the two of them together.
Yes. Are you charmed enough to watch more episodes of Are You Sure on Disney Plus?
I am sure. I will watch this again, probably while cooking or folding laundry. It's not very easy to make a background show, I have to make clear, because they are not speaking English. So you do have to look at the captions. But I'm just saying, I don't know if this is one I would necessarily watch seriously, but it is very cute. And I do want to keep up with their adventures. And I get why the army is the way that they are. They're so adorable that I get why you feel so strongly about whoever your favorite band members are. Because I believe that their army, I think that's one of the most intense fandoms. Am I right in saying that?
I don't know if they like being called intense, but they're very passionate.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're maybe one of the biggest is what I'm basically trying to say. They really mobilize. I remember when they were registering voters and stuff.
They use their powers
for
things.
They move people. And so I get now a little bit more why they feel so motivated, because they are adorable.
Wow, you heard it here first. Me Too might join the army.
Wow. Nope. Not that phrasing.
So I would watch this again casually. I enjoyed seeing just two friends having fun. I think that was my biggest takeaway is in those moments, they really look like they're enjoying themselves, even if they're doing something as simple as shopping for sweatpants. So you want to know my favorite group, and if in some alternate world I could be in the group, which one it would be?
Yes.
I think, well, my favorite group to start off is ITZY.
Love them. Is that the one? I mean, I have a lot of their songs in my Spotify favorites because of you, but do they sing the Christmas song I like?
I need a little more.
I don't remember which Christmas song you sent me, but you sent me one that I really liked. Y'all, I have a separate Spotify favorites folder of just K-pop recommendations from BJ because it's the perfect work music.
We'll have to check offline. It might be InMix.
Okay.
Who is ITZY's little sister group. The same company.
Which one would you join?
I'd probably join like BTS or Stray Kids or 17 because it would be a very successful career.
Okay, so you're just doing this for money. But which group would you enjoy making music with?
I don't want to be a musician.
Okay.
Thank you. If you want to hear more episodes of the Pilot Podcast, head to our website at thepilotpodcast.com, and you can follow us on all of your favorite podcast platforms.
You can also follow us on social media at The Pilot Pod on Instagram, TikTok, and X, and you can send thoughts, feelings, show recommendations, your favorite K-pop groups to askthepilotpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.
Bye.